For her, it started off as kind of a seed of an idea that James pitched to me while we were shooting our last film, Run.
I had this idea for a film which kind of subverts the audience expectation. So it starts off as one thing and then violently twists into something else at the end.
So when Run was done and dusted and we were looking for what our next project was going to be, we kept coming back to the idea of For Her and what we could do with that and the story we could tell.
The script writing was difficult, not because finding what to say, but kind of limiting it, being a short. I mean, there is so much scope here. I mean, it's a traditional love triangle at its heart. You get the couple in love going through issues and then the other woman coming in. We're kind of conditioned to not like the other woman. The other woman is an innocent in all of this.
Jonathan is madly in love with Elizabeth, and it's basically the story about his struggle and the things that he's willing to do and how far he's willing to go for the one he loves, to make her comfortable, to make her happy, to keep her going.
Elizabeth is very mysterious. You actually don't find out that much about her in the film or her past, but the thing that's very clear within it is that she does love Jonathan, and Jonathan is besotted with her, and like every couple, they have their problems.
We really like the idea of kind of playing with the audience and their expectations and to kind of give them kind of 2/3 of a film which is a romantic drama, and for people's expectations, not knowing anything about the film, to kind of hit them with this third act that's kind of very horror based. We love the idea of that.
I've wanted to do a vampire film for a long time, and every mythology is different. So for our one, vampires in our world are pretty much indistinguishable from normal humans. They can go about their lives and all this. It's only when the hunger hits them that the more vampiric traits come out.
So we started casting about 4 months before we started shooting for her. It was quite a long process. We had over 200 applicants for the film, and it was very hard to kind of whittle it down to our 3 main actors.
It wasn't a case of just picking the first sort of 2 or 3 people we liked. It was a question of whether they could pull off the different layers of the characters and really get to flesh out Jonathan, Elizabeth and Anne, and we were looking for very specific people.
First role that we made a 100% decision on was Anne. When Natasha applied for it, just her headshots from her application, I looked at her and I thought she looks exactly how I pictured Anne in my head.
And we asked for her self-tape. She gave us pretty much the perfect delivery of the line. She understood exactly what we wanted from Anne, and she was pretty much top of the list all of the way through.
Jonathan was an interesting one because he needed to be not outrageously good looking as to sort of alienate everybody. Sorry, Derek. But Derek just fit. I mean, he was completely unexpected.
We were really impressed, and it was kind of this sort of almost an epiphany. We'd never really imagined Jonathan's character as being American, and it brought on this whole new sort of extra layer to his character. And again, it also kind of plays back into the romantic drama side of it. There's a lot of British romantic dramas and comedies that have an American lead in it, so that was kind of like a very Richard Curtis-y type thing to kind of interject into the film, which is great.
Well, when I first stumbled across the ad for her, it was just listed as a romantic drama with a horror twist. I love horror films. It's my favorite genre of film. And it wasn't until I made it farther along in the process that James told me what the twist was and more about the actual story of the film. And as soon as I learned that, I knew I had to do it.
As tough as it was to cast the part of Jonathan, it was equally, if not more so, difficult to cast Elizabeth.
So many of the actresses who applied would have worked, but it's just kind of You need to find that somebody who had that little something.
She needed to be strong and sexy, yet also at times vulnerable, and be able to pull off again all the different layers of the character.
She is just a force of nature, and probably one of the funniest people that I have ever met in my life.
To be honest, it's actually the ambiguity of the job description, and I mean, it's very much like the film itself. Like, I didn't quite know where it was going, but then I also looked up the company, and I knew that it was one that was professional, that knew what they were going for, and I knew that it would be a project that we all ended up with something that was beneficial to us.
The cast is phenomenal, and again, we couldn't have been happier or luckier to get everybody that we did.
The shoot was just crazy. I mean, no amount of preparation made us ready. It was very, I want to say slapdash and out of control, but it wasn't. We got everything that we needed to do, but everything happened so fast and it just fell together.
It was amazing how quickly Derek and Katria kind of slipped into the shoes of Jonathan and Elizabeth.
There were a few instances where we were worried about certain elements coming together and how hard we'd have to work to try and bring that all in, but they just fell where they were and everything worked perfectly.
We got on amazingly well. I brought in Daryl as our camera operator and cinematographer, as well as Michelle.
It was to the point that on the final day, it felt like you're just sort of hanging out with your friends and making a film on the side, but at the same time, when we got down to to the nitty-gritty of the filming, when the shot was set up, it was like bam, everyone was in it, it's professional, we got the job done. And even when I was back and I was watching Derek's shots being done, I saw that everything was on point. The camera angles were beautiful. Derek was really dedicated himself to it, and he was also a fantastic person to work against as well.
Didn't feel like working, It felt like we were just having a good time hanging out, but at the same time, still shooting this amazing stuff. But as soon as the camera stopped rolling, we were back to jokes, banter, talking about favorite horror films. It was a very positive vibe on set. Couldn't ask for better.
Everyone got on really well, which made our jobs a lot easier. They were all very professional, which helped getting the scenes done. By the end of the 4 days, we all felt like a very dysfunctional family.
So shooting on the Semini was kind of fun as well. It posed some challenges, but I think it looks great. We put a lot of love and passion into what we do, and hopefully that shows. We had a lot of fun. Hopefully that kind of shows too.
The cast was great. The crew was absolutely fantastic, and it pretty much just felt like a group of friends having a laugh, and accidentally a film happened.
Originally in the script, the dismemberment scene wasn't actually there, wasn't present. It was kind of one of those things we added in later. I felt like we needed to push some of the horror aspects of the film a little bit more and really push Jonathan's character right to the edge and see that. And I think that was really important to for his unraveling. Something we weren't sure how we were going to do it. We weren't sure if it was going to work. We were just like, well, we'll shoot it. If it works, it's great. If not, it doesn't have to be in the film. Very, very quickly got it together, and we talked Derek through what we wanted and shot it very quick and dirty. And fair play to Derek, he doesn't mind getting covered in blood and all kinds of shit. So that was it was fun as well, because I got to flick loads of fake blood all over the place and at him.
Being the writer, my input into post-production is kind of minimal, but Daniel was amazing at what he does. He is amazing. He edited it all up, and he really didn't want to show the rest of the crew too much because he wanted it to be as big a surprise for us as it is for everybody else. But the snippets that he did show us, we loved, and we're just amazed at how well it comes together.
So the original cut of the film came in at about 23 minutes long, and we felt that was just a little bit too much to ask of people. But there was a scene, which again, a big block, which is about 45 seconds long, where Jonathan comes home from work right before they sit down to drink the wine. And we lost that for a number of reasons. First of all, it felt like it went on too long. It didn't need to be in there. It just felt like it stunted the kind of progression of the film. And secondly, because the way we shot a fair bit of coverage, but it didn't work based on how the timing of the delivery of the lines. So it was an issue I was trying to edit around, and instead I think we just lost that whole sequence, and it just kind of solved a few issues at the same time. During the dismemberment scene, there were a lot more kind of thrust with the axe and things like that, and I think, yeah, just little things that felt a little bit too much or too unnecessary, just didn't really need to be in there. We wanted to colour the film in a way that meant something. You know, we have a character who becomes very ill, so we should desaturate the colours from the film just to kind of mimic her mood and her feeling. And when Elizabeth is nice, fit and healthy, she's wearing bright colours, we've, you know, really amped up the colours on screen so it's not a nice vibrant look to it. And then when she becomes ill, she starts wearing more muted colours, and even Jonathan to an extent starts wearing slightly more muted colours. When he gets to the pub, it's like, when we get to the pub scene, it's back into colour again. It's like Elizabeth, she's draining the life and the colour out of his life. And when he's kind of not with her, it's kind of, as bad as it is, some of his happiest moments. And I feel like, especially with that scene in the pub, he genuinely really think he is taken with Anne a little bit.
One of my favourite scenes would have to be the last scene with Jonathan at the end of the bed, with the flashing lights of the police car, and him screaming Elizabeth's name at the end of the film. I just felt that last scene, there was just such an impact to that last scene in the way he said it, and I think that just stuck out for me. And I think when the audience watches it, I think that's going to be something that's going to really just stick with them.
One day, James and I were tasked with working on costume. So I had a spoiler suit and we needed to dirty it up. So we thought it would be a good idea to go to the field across from the house and roll around in the dirt. So we did. James grabbed the camera. I walked over there and we found some dirt on this dude's farm. And I was just like crawling on the ground trying to dirty myself up. That wasn't working, so we had the great idea that James would drag me. Got it all on camera. It was fun, yeah.
My favourite part was watching Derek do housework. It was rare. My favourite parts of filming were when, you know, me and Derek got to work off each other, and I think it's really hard sometimes for actors to get that chemistry, but he was such a professional actor, and we got on really well off set as well, that it was a chemistry that was easily made, and we all had fun with it. Like, even the moments that are really intimate, it all felt very natural, very fun and light-hearted, and I like to think that comes across in the film. And I think, you know, that's always a worry when you go in and you've not obviously met these actors before. And even like, because I don't actually have that much with Natasha, but when I met her on set, like, she was lovely, she was a really good energy to have around, and I think all three of us, you know, we connected and we all made very comfortable on set, and I think that makes it a much better film and a natural connection for us all.
I hope that as soon as they finish watching it for the first time, they'll right away want to go back and watch it a second time just to pick up on all the little things that they missed.
When you first watch it, not only do we have the twist, we also have, you want to find out more about the characters. And, you know, I think it was hard to fit everything into those 20 minutes. And obviously the dream is that it gets such a good reception that we can make a feature out of it, because I think there's so much more that we could put in. But the 20 minutes we have is action-packed drama, and we all put our 100% into it, and I hope the audience see that, and I really think they will.
My favourite moment was when it was all over and everybody got the fuck out of my house.